Yes. How is everyone feeling today? It's been a while since we had a board meeting. I guess you all missed it. I'm very happy to have a board meeting again. I didn't miss them, but it's always nice to have them. It
Yeah,
allows me to sneak away from the kids.
yeah, I actually do kind of miss having the international board meeting. I think it's lovely working with international pirates. Um, there's so much more motivation than and drive than when I work locally.
Indeed.
It's I feel like every time I've attended an international pirate event, I come back feeling energized, even if it's just a quick meeting with the PPEU board. Anyways, so okay. Mhm.
So I spoke with Veronica before, and she said she might be able to chair the meeting. But now you said that you're a bit ill, so maybe we should find someone else, Veronica.
Yeah, sorry. I think I will be running away often, so someone else, please.
Okay.
Well, as soon as Miklas has opened the meeting, we can start looking for volunteers. You all have the agenda, right?
Okay. So I'm officially opening the meeting, and I would start with the question: does anyone want to chair? Because I can chair, but honestly, I would also gladly transfer it to someone else.
I'm happy to chair.
Then feel free to do so, transferring the chairing.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm a little bit tired, so I until my can of Red Bull has kicked in, I might forget things. So please correct me if I do something wrong. So here we go. Thank you, Mikuláš. So our next step is to elect a meeting secretary. Do we have any volunteers? And thank you, Alessandro, for sharing. And excuse me.
I can help
Thank you for the encouragement.
I can do the minutes. If
thanks. Yeah.
if we keep the meeting for 2 hours, I can do the minutes.
Okay, thank you, Jan. Okay, so in that case, we have Jan as the meeting secretary. Wonderful. Okay.
We will also agree that we will work collectively on the minutes in the pad, as it already says in the minutes. Because then I can help adding things as we go along, so that it becomes easier for Honza.
Certainly.
Also, just a question, like it seems like approval of agenda and minutes of the last meeting are now supposed to be done over Discourse. That's new.
Yeah, I guess it's because it needs votes.
Can I jump in on that?
Yeah, until now we would vote directly in the pad, at least until the last meeting.
Yes, so let me jump in on that. If you go to the rules of procedure for the board, they were updated last year, and in the updated rules of procedure that was adopted in October last year, the board decided that all the votes should be in discourse. And then after that, I wasn't properly aware, so I haven't really pointed it out to you. But now when I'm aware that you have decided that your vote should be in discourse, I'm helping you with that a bit after the fact.
Should I create, so I guess I should create a new topic in discourse for voting?
Yes, according to, and it also says exactly, I'll post into the chat how it should be labeled, and it should be in the board category, but I'll post it into the chat so you see it.
Wonderful. Thanks. You're always so helpful, Mob.
Okay,
I tried.
where to put it then? Hmm. Ugh.
You posted Mab into the board channel, right?
Yeah, it's in the. You put it in the. Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Like there's already a topic in discourse for the 9th board meeting, but this seems to be just for that's just
meeting.
about the pirates list in Italy. Or
Correct.
should I just
Well,
should we
it's
vote
been the
there?
only topic. It's been the only topic that's brought up, but I think we need a voting
Okay.
thread
Crap.
for clarity.
Okay, I guess I'll just copy the.
Go ahead, Mikolas.
Yeah,
Floor is
generally,
yours.
I think what we should kinda in this context improve, and probably we will not be able to do it today. We should have a system for numbering the particular votes, so there is at least some system, and we can refer to them easier in future. I would say something like 2024/5 or 2024/15. That would be the numbers of the respective votes.
Mm. Yep, that might be something that's worth proposing at the next meeting, perhaps. But yeah, there might certainly be a need for that. But right now, we work with what we have.
Great.
So I think we need to wait for this to be set up. Is that correct?
Is it? Yeah, because I'm just wondering because like it says that there should be a 9th PPEU board category, but at least now on Discourse there's just board category. So
Yeah.
not
I
specifically
sent the
9th
link to
board.
that category in the chat. There is
Oh.
one already, and I just sent the link to it.
Okay,
yes,
well, I guess
just arrived.
I already also made a topic there, but I guess I can just delete it again.
I can move it for you if you've already created it.
No, too late.
All right, just get that done as soon as you can. So no stress, but it's just good for us to have that in place so we can take
Oh,
care
I
of all
guess
the
I cannot move
formalities.
it myself, right?
I've already moved it. The thread is now in the right place.
Okay, 9th board, second meeting.
Oh, now. Yeah, I'll just remove the. Huh?
Okay, I see you've managed to
Oh, now.
get the post in
Finally.
there. So you need to post approval of the agenda as a separate.
Oh, so each one should be a separate topic, or it's just separate post in the same topic?
Separate. Mob, what's your more experienced
I mean, I guess
opinion?
it would be because it would be
Well-
probably easier to just have one topic with all the votes, because otherwise this is just going to be a huge
Messy?
mess.
Not necessarily.
I'll
Okay.
change the text, of course. I'm already changing it, but just not to make 3 different topics for each vote. Like
Certainly.
no one's going to read that.
Okay, yep, that's a fair point. Jean, we need to let Mikolas say something here, and I would also like to hear Mob's opinion. So Mikolas first, and then Mob. Go ahead, Mikolas.
I would, in this context, advocate for separate topics in some subcategory because we need to refer to that respective vote with hyperlink in the minutes, and that would be way more simple.
Okay, thank you, Mikolas. Mob, you have seen us through several council and board meetings. What is your opinion?
my opinion is try to do as much as possible by consensus, so there is no vote to refer to. That makes everything simpler, like approval of the agenda. If there's only one proposal, you can ask, is there a consensus? If there's a yes, then you don't need to open a vote. That saves you some time. For the other thing, I think you can have one thread because Discourse is so neatly set up that you can hyperlink to a post in a Discourse thread, and it will take you directly to that post.
Okay, thank you, Mob. So it sounds to me like it's probably easiest to add the bigger points as separate posts inside the thread or inside the topic. So since these are small questions, or they're very easy to do on a consensus basis, I would like to ask the board, do we have consensus in regards to approval of the agenda?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this people should write down their votes in the thread, right?
So this would just
That
be by
makes sense.
acclamation.
Mm,
So if you agree that you have, that we can all agree that we approve the agenda, can I hear a yes from you, please? All right, let's try it this way. So does anyone have any objections to approving the agenda? Okay, complete silence. I think it might simplify things. Yes, go ahead, Anya.
I was just wondering if you should use this to just check if we can do the voting on the correctly. So we could use this easy task to just add our yes and see if everybody can access it in time.
Certainly.
yeah, I
oh
mean,
goodness, I'm gonna make
since
sure I
we're
log
already
in.
doing it through Discourse, then like I think that probably the easiest way would be everyone would just post a reply to this thread with basically
Yes or no.
Yeah. So in this case, we're only, since we already did away with the first 2 points, then it's just and I think there were no decisions in between the meetings, so I guess just write down 3 yes, 4 yes, or like 3 no, 4 no, and then we just tally it up, and that's the result.
Okay, we need to make
No?
sure that we are clear so that if someone comes back to check our responses, so it's best to write one post in that case, one post for each question, and then we reply individually to that post. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the first one.
Well, okay. Well, since Florian is asking in the chat, like I said, okay. I guess we can create a poll. It's just a question, like whether do you see individual replies in the poll, or do you just see the number of answers? Because I mean, anyone can access Discourse, so that's that's not, let's say, it's not very foolproof, because it's only the members of the board that are supposed to be voting.
Okay, so it sounds like there are some options here that we had not considered beforehand. Just to keep the meeting within a reasonable time frame, I think it's probably best to decide on one method for now and consider options between the meetings. Mikolas wants to say something here, so go ahead, Mikolas.
I think generally the problem stays that way, that there are 2 types of decision we do. First, the decisions which are not controversial, like for example approval of the agenda, which could be technically done by means of acclamation. And there are decisions that might be potentially controversial. I guess where we have to be like careful would be this discussion about Italy. In the first one, we don't need to have the record of the people how they voted. In the later one, there we take like a really political decision, and it should be, for the sake of transparency, clear who has done or who supported which solution. So I would advocate not to use the polls itself because they kind of like hide it, but clearly go for like a good record of, let's say, the responsibility in the important cases.
That's an excellent point. Thank you. Alessandro.
Oh, okay. So I created. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Alessandro. You have
No,
the
no, it's
floor.
fine. I mean, because are you sure that polls just hide the voters or anonymize the voters or not? Because if it not, I can't remember actually. So I completely trust you or Mab or whatever you.
Why don't you all try to vote in the approval of the agenda, and we will see how the result looks like, and then we can see if we can use polls in the future.
That's a good
There is
idea. I would second this. Thanks.
Yes, I agree. I think that sounds like a good idea. Can we do this? Can we put that? Yeah, go ahead, Anya.
I have a message. You need to be a member of the board to vote in the poll, so it would not let me do that currently.
I'll make sure that you're a member of the board in a second. Is there anyone else who have that problem?
Doesn't seem like it.
And as you see the voters. Right? Can you all see the voters, right?
I can't see that at the moment. Just
You have to click it. You have to click on the results button. Then you see who voted for what.
go ahead, Mikolas.
Just if I may, is there actually a way how to lock the vote after it is like finished? Because we need to kind of like at some point say this is how it is, and then the people shall not change the votes.
Yeah, there's a. I can. Well, anyone who creates it can set a time limit. I didn't set it up because I wasn't sure that it's necessary.
There is also a button close.
Yeah,
Then
I can manually close it afterwards, of course, but I can also set up like a timeout.
Yeah, but I think that is in this case because it's the chair that open and close the vote. So when it's open, we can vote. When it's the chair say that it's closed, you close. That's it.
Okay. But it seems like this is active. Some of us are still having trouble accessing the poll itself. Okay, that seems... All right, so that seems convenient enough. I'm going to try to reply. I'm going to try to
enough votes.
Yeah. Jan, go ahead.
Yes, Alessandro pointed out, like, I think we missed the option for abstaining. I'll see if I can edit, maybe add it in there.
Just add it for future ones. Don't bother with these ones.
Abstain. Yep, now it's there.
Yeah, but we have to vote again.
Okay. Jan?
Yeah, I'm really sorry about this, but since I updated the options, it seemed it reset the votes.
Yeah. So I think several of us have already voted a second time. So 4 of us have voted a second time. If you have not already voted, please go in and do so. We have 4 votes, as far as I can see.
Yes, the people who have voted is Miklas, Anja, Alessandro, and you, Sarah.
Yeah. And now we have 5.
That's a majority. So if you want to move on, you can always close this vote. Then the rest will be absent from the vote.
All right. I think it's important that we give everyone a chance to vote, just because we're getting started with these meetings and we need to make sure we are consistent in how we work. So I think we can be a little bit patient here. So we have 6 votes. Do we have anyone who's having any trouble with this? All right, no one's having any technical trouble with this. So the people who have not voted now are abstaining. Is that right?
No, they're absent from the vote. Abstain is an active choice.
Okay, thank you. All right then, Jan, I think we're ready to lock the vote. Can you do that?
Yeah, it's closed.
Oh, all of it. Okay. All right.
Okay, and now I just have to post the link oh, okay, I see it. It's already been done.
It locked all of them. So
No, I mean post it in the minutes in the pad, but I think
yep.
Map already posted it there.
Okay. Thank you, Mob. Always appreciate your help. So let's.
Sorry, that wasn't me. That was someone else. But whoever did it deserves the thanks. I'm busy
Yeah.
eating food
Yeah.
while
Alessandro.
recording.
Alessandro,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
All right. I think that was Alessandro. So thank you, Alessandro. All right. Let's continue then. We have now voted on points. Oh, goodness. There we go. On points 0.3 and 0.4. The next point is to confirm any decisions taken in between meetings. At this point, I believe we have not taken any decisions between board meetings. Can we consider this this point completed? All right. Okay. Thank you. So I'll just put my vote in there. All right. If we continue to the next point. Is anyone against? Nope. Okay. Since there have not been any decisions taken between board meetings, we continue with point 0.6, written reports. And here we have some reports from Florian and Matthias, or Mob. I assume that everyone has taken the time to read these prior to the meetings. And I would only ask our authors if they have anything they wish to add.
Nothing from me.
Florian, do you have anything you wish to add to your text? No? Okay, very good. Thank you, Mob and Florian, for writing in your reports.
Sorry, can I just add a little bit there after all?
Certainly, go ahead, Mob.
In short, the main purpose for these written reports is so that everyone else who reads the minutes know what is happening. A lot of the stuff I put here, I will already have told you in the chat or in other means of communication. So this is just to make sure that information that is in your hands also get spread to everyone who reads our glorious minutes. And it's sort of in a text form that stays.
All right, thank you. I still think it's good to ask if anyone has something to add, because sometimes people do have something to add. But that's great, because that means we can move to the next topic. We don't have anything else to deal with before our decisions then. That means we go to the next point, which is time and place for our next board meeting. All right, so at this point, our next meeting, according to the plans from last meeting, are in June, after the election. So please feel free to correct me if I've mixed up the dates here. Mikolas, go ahead.
Two things. The first one, it will be maybe good should we have the next meeting in June in physical form to actually organize a meeting between the board and the newly elected MEPs. Maybe Map can comment more on that. Second thing, I guess we might face some troubles in discussing this issue with Italian election list, and maybe we will need to do some more decisions in between. So maybe we shall schedule this decision making also in advance.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. So we will talk about this topic in point 2.3 when we talk about the proposals. But if we're going to have our next meeting in person, it would be ideal to have it in Brussels. And this is also what Mob suggests and what we discussed last time. Mob, go ahead.
Yes, so as you see in the minutes, basically 1.1 is just there because we always have it. We will have to merge that with the decision on 2.1, which is bringing the board to Brussels. So what was discussed and tentatively approved last meeting was that we would try to set up a meeting with the MEPs on the Sunday, Friday, 14th of June, and then have the meeting on the Saturday. I have thought about this quite a lot since then, and my suggestion here for this meeting is slightly different. And that is that we still meet with them on Friday. I suggested before lunch, but Alessandro's flagged that after lunch worked better for him, so we could definitely shift it around and do it after lunch. And then we dedicate a Saturday to a team building and discussions about the goals and ambitions for the organization, because I think that would be really good for the board to feel that they've landed on the same page with what they see the organization to be and where they want the organization to go, so that we feel that we're working towards the same goal. And then we have the formal board meeting on the Sunday in the morning, and then everyone flies home or take the trains home or stay in Brussels, depending on their life situation. So that would be my proposal. And it's all under point 2.1 in the minutes. And I'm happy for it to be changed in any way or form. But if you want to have a team building day on the Saturday, I have recently taken training in participatory leadership, and I would be very happy to tailor that team building day for you.
Do we have any responses to that? So, okay, we have Anya and Mob. So Anya first and then Mob.
I think this is a very great idea. I think team building is very very important. We have to do lots of things together. We have to know what we want to achieve. And as some of us are maybe in a double role of MEP and part of the board, it would make life easier if we all know each other even better than now. So I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Thank you, Anya. Mob, would you like to add something to that?
No, that was an old hand. The one question I have is, do we have money for it? If so, the board need to take a decision on allocating money. If we don't have money, we will have to either pay for it by ourselves or find a rich donor outside of the board.
Okay, very important point. Alessandro, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yes, I think that I can say a word I probably already said in our last board meeting about money. Not speaking for myself because I have to be already in Brussels, so I've already booked all the 5 days and back and forth because I have to be there for the festival of the competence center of the European Commission, where I work, the GRC, where I work.
Where you
right
work.
now. So, yeah. So, but I think that we have allocated some resources for emergencies or whatever in the last budget that has been approved. So we can go there and eventually, because this is up to us, I think up to the board. So we can eventually grab some money from there. They're not that much. I can tell you exactly how much is it, but this means that, for instance, some expensive, like cheap, trains or flights or buses. I mean, at least maybe not for everyone. I mean, for instance, I have all set, so you can count me off, but still, I mean, we can divide this for all the others. For instance, Florian is already there, maybe Mikuláš is already there, but for the others that have to come, I think that we can collectively support this in order to have all on board. I checked this budget because I can't remember by heart, but it should be something around 1,000 or 1,000 and half, but that's it.
Okay. So somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 euros. Did we hear you correctly there, Alessandro?
Yeah, correctly. But I go to the minutes and get the budget in a while. Just a second.
Okay, certainly. Well, that sounds promising. It would be great if we had some funds that we could allocate. However, I think it could also be good if we consider other options too. Do we have any other options, such as donors or sponsors? Mob?
Yes, if the MEPs are there for the Saturday, I can ask the MEPs to ask the group to give us money for it. Because it's after the elections, it should be fairly fine. The group has already promised us to give us some money this year, so it could be for this, but it would be up for the MEPs if they want to ask the group. But if they want to ask the group, I think the group can give us some money for travel reimbursements and accommodations and a meeting room and a lunch.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mob. Anya.
One thought on this. Please remember the vote is over, but the new MEPs are not MEPs yet. We have to wait until July and we are officially assigned. So this can only be done by already elected ones.
Jan, go ahead. And then Mikolas.
Yeah, I think this may be up to individual countries, because I think in Czech Republic it's usually very clear who becomes MEP and who doesn't. I think like Germany just generally has a more complicated system, so there's some magic involved. So I guess there might be some problems with that. But as far as I know, in Czech Republic, there never has been any change to what the first results appear to be. Like not like new, unless you think about maybe like someone will want to have the votes counted again.
Okay, thank you, Jan. We have Mikolas and then Mob.
Just to correct you, the problem is actually the administrative procedure on the side of the European Parliament, because when you are elected at the beginning of June, you only formally become an MEP at the beginning of July with the first session. In between, you are like legally not yet elected. But I think the trick is that actually the group itself is sort of like probably not legal entity, but it's an entity that survives between the election terms. So it effectively has a budget already. I mean, like it has some money on their accounts that will be like staying there from before the election to after the elections. So I think what we can do, we can ask the group to use this money to make it happen. And I think we may do come with this request from the pirate delegation that is currently in the parliament, and hope that on the intention there will be nothing changed by the fact of elections itself.
Okay, thank you, Mikolas. We have Mob and then Alessandro.
Mikolas basically said what I wanted to say, but yes, the request for money would come very soon, so we know far in advance if we have the money or not, so we can spend it. And it would be by the current MEPs to the current group, which will still be existence at that time.
Okay, thank you, Mob. Alessandro. Alessandro, your microphone is muted.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, sorry. I mean, yeah. Now, I mean, we have this proposal. Yeah, I also, because Florian was pointing out something because last in December 2023, we have this budget proposal, right? That was the one that I, let me post it. The one where this one. The one where I tried, this one, sorry. Let me post this link here. So this was the budget proposal from the board, November, you see the date, it's 2024.
Oh, sorry, November 20th?
Yeah, no, the November the 20th was when I created it, and when the document was created, and in 2024 was the referring annual period. So in the section 2, variable expensive, in the board subsection, we have 1,000 not for travel costs but for emergency expenses. Now I was looking for, because we proposed this in the not the last the council meeting, the meeting before. So now I was wondering when it was approved, because I'm pretty sure that we have already approved the budget, but I can't find it. Just let me check. It should be not the last council meeting, but the December council meeting. I have just to check because I can't remember everything by heart. I'm sorry.
The budget was indeed approved in December.
Was approved in December, right?
Yes.
Okay, now it's fine. So because I couldn't find it in last council meeting, because actually we were already approved this version December 2023, right?
December 2023. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so in this case, my suggestion was to, of course, we can ask but in the, I mean, for some money, if we're not sure, because it would be convenient to book everything earlier, not just last minute, because expenses will just fly. I don't know. We maybe can have a look of the current expenses needed, current money needed. And after that, if we can cover, why not? If we will find some money later on, maybe, I don't know. That was my proposal, just to at least check the amount of money we need. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Alessandro. Mob?
Thanks. I just posted a link to the preparations pad again, where I have a tentative agenda, and I've also put all you in there where you can add, some of you have already done, arrival and departure, your accommodation, and then I added need of reimbursements for travel or accommodation. If you fill this in as soon as possible, it will give us a better understanding of the cost. And of course, you could already today take a decision that you will spend up to that budget on travel reimbursements unless funding is found elsewhere. And then you know that people can book flights already. And my suggestion would be for you to book the flights and expect to be reimbursed, but only book accommodation with cancellation. And then if we can't find the money, we can see if we can have local pirates or local people working in for the pirates host you, rather than having everyone stay in hotels that they can't be reimbursed for. So book accommodation with pre-cancellation, and book the travel as early as possible, because flights are cheap now but will become expensive later. And also write in exactly when you will arrive and leave, because that gives us information about whether there's time in the evenings for social meetups already the day before or whatever.
Okay, that's an excellent point. Thank you. Thank you, Mob. All right, so we have a lot of, we've had a lot of discussion so far. And checking the agenda here. So we need to decide how we will budget for this. We also need to decide if we're going to follow Mob's suggestion, and we need to allocate some responsibilities. Okay. So, in Mob, do you want to add something?
I think we can, no, that was an old hand, but we can draft a proposal in the chat, in the pad, and then we can just paste it into the discourse. That's probably the easiest way to find a proposal that we can agree on, and then we post it into discourse, and then we vote.
Sure, I think that sounds like a good idea too. Any other suggestions? The sound of silence. I interpret that as approval to proceed. So go ahead, Mob, and write your proposal there. Please feel free to also read your proposal, Mob. When you finish, of course. And Jan, are you preparing the vote as well?
I'm not sure what the voting options are actually in this case. Like just
Okay.
yes and no.
So
Yep.
I will make a proposal, and then you cut that proposal and you add yes, no, or abstain. But before you
Oh,
do that, we check if anyone wants to change that proposal, and then we can talk about
Mhm.
it so that we don't get a bunch of counter proposals, but we only have one proposal in there.
Yep. I was thinking more you opened a new point there, but yeah, it's probably best that we take a look at the proposal and then make counter proposals so that there's as little change necessary as possible. All right. So do we have any other proposals or suggestions or questions regarding the meeting in June? No? Okay. I guess everyone's a bit tired at this time of day. All right. Do you feel ready?
Yes, I have a proposal. The board shall organize its next meeting in person in Brussels on 16th of June in Brussels. That's two Brussels. Let's take a quick one. It will be combined with an event 14 to 15 June to get to know the new maps. Mob is tasked with checking with the pirate delegation if the group have money to cover costs related to the event on the 14th and 15th of June, because they can't cover the board meeting. The board will use the emergency expenses budget line to cover any travel to the board meeting that cannot be covered in other ways.
All right. Thank you. I just corrected some grammar in there.
Yes, and I've added that the event 14th to 15th June should be organized by the pirate delegation, because then I can set it up.
That's fair, and of course that means we delegate that and have a little bit more freedom to plan our own things. All right. I'd like to open the floor to suggestions and responses to this proposal. Do we have any responses, comments, or additions? Please raise your hand. All right, we have an old hand from Mob here, so no one else? Okay. I interpret that as there are no other suggestions. Can we proceed to a vote?
I think Jan needs to tinker with the vote a little bit more to get it in line with the text in the pad.
Certainly. Okay, welcome. Welcome back, Florian. In case you dropped out for so long that you missed what we were talking about, I just previously requested any feedback or thoughts or counter proposals. It seems we didn't get any. And Alessandro just posted a link. All right, we don't have a new vote yet. So this, I would advise that, or I think it would be best that we vote based on responses rather than actually, never mind. I think we can vote on this one using the polls function. So, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think I finally have one that has all the text from the pad.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, because it just seems that Discord doesn't like very long poll names.
It's always something. All right. And thank you, Alessandro, for posting the link to the correct post in Discourse. It is in the chat for those of you who did not see it. All right. So this is exactly the same text that Mob just read to us. And are we ready to go to vote? All right. We've got 6 votes so far. All right, just give it a little bit more time there, but that was pretty quick. Thank you all for voting. In that case, do we have anyone who has not been able to vote? No? Okay. I believe this is as many votes as we are going to get. We have no abstentions and no negative votes. I think the time might be right to lock the vote. Go ahead, Jan. And with that, we have 6 votes for Mob's proposal. And that means it passes. So that means that the next meeting will be held in person in Brussels on the 16th of June. It will be combined with an event over the weekend to get to know the new maps. It will be organized by the pirate delegation, and Mob is tasked with checking if the group has money to cover costs related to the event. And the board will use the emergency expenses budget line to cover any travel to the board meeting that cannot be covered in any other way. For the sake of clarity, it may be worthwhile clarifying or writing that or why this is an emergency or why it's a legitimate use of the emergency fund. Okay. And I think we could write something along the lines of that this is for the startup meeting with the new delegates. So, unless anyone has any other suggestions. No other suggestions? Okay, then let's continue. Thank you for voting in the last point. We move now to point 2.2, next council meeting. Okay, and we have a proposal here. I'm assuming it's from Mob as well. Go ahead, Mob.
Yes, this is very much drafted on what you discussed and decided on at the last board meeting. So it's just having a council meeting shortly after the European elections to debrief the elections, see if there's any urgent discussions that need to be taken. And then I've also added approval of new members or membership applications because there's the possibility that the Swiss will want to apply. But basically, this is to debrief after the European elections. It is in line with your discussion in Luxembourg. And to make Hansa's life easier, I have posted it in the thread. So when he does the poll, he can just link to this post, which will be just over the poll, so that he doesn't need to copy paste the entire text. And if you have questions on it, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much, Mob. Do we have any questions, counter proposals, or comments? My goodness, you're all so quiet today. All right. I interpret the silence as approval. Yes, go ahead. Anja.
Just a short question. The date is directly 1 week after the meeting in Brussels. So it seems a bit tight together, isn't it?
Mob, go ahead. You have the floor.
Well, we have the agenda now, so it's going to be an online meeting. The invitation will be sent 1 month before by the chair, as usual. We don't need any other decisions on that. So there's no other decisions to take. And since it's a purely online meeting, it should be fairly straightforward. We've organized them with very little head start. And if there's any last minute things we need to address, the board will be able to talk about that 1 week before the meeting, so they can update the agenda or meeting accordingly. But this is mainly a debrief after the elections, so it should be it's just so that we check in with the parties after the elections on how it all went, and we have a quick information point about who the new pirates are in the European Parliament, to be the pirate delegation in the European Parliament.
Okay, thank you for the clarification, Mob. Any other questions?
I have one more clarification. So if the result of the elections is that we need to do any urgent decisions, we want to allow the two-tailed dog party to be a full member, for example, or we want to have a discussion about how something we want to say to the delegation, and that needs to be a council decision, then we've already called it, we already have the council meeting, and we can easily add it to the agenda week before, so that we can address anything urgent coming up as a result of the elections without having to start from scratch by calling a council meeting at that point, because we already have it scheduled and ready. It's a preparation for the uncertainties of elections, basically.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any other points or questions? Jean, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly there, Jean. Is it Jean or Han? Anyways,
It's Jan.
Jean, okay, wonderful. So
Jan with the J.
yeah, Jan.
Okay.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, it's a preemptive one, of course. All right. So I believe that means we move to a vote. Jan, have you been able to set up the vote for the proposal or on the proposal?
Not yet, but just a simple yes, no, abstain vote again.
This one, yeah, I think so. Unless anyone wants to change or add anything to the agenda. All right, if you want to add or change something in the agenda at this point, either say so aloud or write so in the chat. Otherwise, we will proceed to a vote. And since this is fully written out, so you don't have to create a poll, I think we can just reply. We can vote by replying to Mob's post.
No, do a poll.
Do a poll. Okay. Sure thing.
Yeah, okay, I made a poll as a reply
Yeah.
to Map's post. It should be visible under it.
Perfect. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Nice one. Very nice one, Jan. Okay, and we have the votes. Okay, I'm just going to give it a few more seconds there in case we have someone else who wants to do something. All right, at this point, we have 6 votes for, 0 abstentions, and 0 votes against. That means we have majority in the voting and the proposal has passed. Jan, please lock the vote. All right. Thank you very much, Jan. And that completes point 2.2. And we can move on to a bigger discussion regarding the European Pirates list in the European Parliament elections in Italy. This has quite a long backstory. So if you haven't already had a chance to read it, perhaps it might be appropriate with a brief summary. All right. Before we continue, Mob points out that the meeting was scheduled for an hour and we are over time. Could we get a consensus for whether we end the meeting now or whether we continue for another half hour? A half hour is my suggestion because we have 2 more large points here. Thank you, Alessandro. Any other feedback? Is anyone against extending the meeting by 30 minutes? All right, we'll try our very best not to go over, but we need an approval from the majority of the voters. By acclamation is fine. Anja, go ahead.
Just make a quick poll. I think it's faster.
Yeah, I agree, Anja. Jan, could you make a quick poll in regards to voting on extending the meeting by 30 minutes? to.
Sorry, can I continue on that?
Yes, go
It
ahead,
says
Mob.
it says it can be extended by consensus. So you only need to say, does anyone object? And if there's silence, it's fine. If anyone says yes to that, it is not fine. You don't need a poll because you're not looking for a majority. You're looking for if anyone objects.
Okay, and where should I file this under in the
No,
minutes?
In the minutes, you just
thing
write.
you don't need it in the minutes. You just
Oh,
need
okay.
to ask, can we continue? Does anyone object?
Okay, we
Okay,
have
so does anybody
feedback
object?
here that someone might want to leave, but not have any objection. All right. Well, Jan, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I would have to leave at around 8. So like I have the 20 minutes.
Okay, since we have lots of different needs and people want to leave as quickly as possible, I suggest we just move forward. Does anyone object to continuing this meeting until 2000 hours? I hear no objections. I interpret that as that the approval by consensus that we can continue this meeting until 2000 hours, that is another 21 minutes. Okay, can we have a very brief summary of the Italian case? Alessandro.
No, I wasn't. I was just pointing out the maps. So if you all have read the perfect, summarization that Mab already did in the thread, I think that you are all aware. So we can maybe ask for start question and answers. For instance, Marco is here for that. So
Okay.
if you have read everything, if you don't have, maybe it's time to read.
Yeah. All right then. So from what I understand, please correct me if I'm wrong here. We have two options. One option is to wait until the last of March to make any decisions, and that means that we will have to vote between meetings. Go ahead, Mikolas, go ahead.
I would start our decision with a clear statement that board of the European Pirate Party is seriously concerned about the delay that happened in the preparation of Italian pirate list. We do strongly believe that such a thing will never ever happen again, and shall it ever happen, we will apply the worst possible sanctions, like for example, put ananas on pizza or anything like that.
That's harsh.
That's harsh, but really seriously, if we say there is a deadline until 15th of March, there should be delivered until 15th of March. However, I think the decision that is in the council's minute says that the board's decision to kind of like approve the list is not bound on fulfilling of the obligation by the Pirati.io. So I guess the Pirati.io can still deliver some list before the deadline, and we can still review it in written form with the deadline. That's very much possible, and I think it is our obligation as the organization to help to solve the problems rather than create a problem. So I guess we still can make the decision. There is one aspect that is relevant because the Italian
Parliament.
We might still for practical reasons want to have some more like members or people on the list, or want to alternate it after the respective deadline that was mentioned, the 23rd, or sorry, the 3rd, the end of March. I mean, in elections, it happens that the sometimes some candidate resigns just before the elections or anything like that. I think we should be not denying such changes happening even after the end of March. So it should be possible to include the more candidates on the list, even respecting the Italian law. But there is a very important, let's say, political aspect, that these changes would never alternate the fair balance between Pirati.io and Italian Pirate Party. So just to summarize it, I would suggest we expect Pirati.io to provide the list of candidates until the end of March. And should there be any changes that significantly disrupts the balance between the both organizations, I think we might reconsider the decision accordingly, because the respective submission to Italian authorities might happen even later after the 23rd, after the end of March. Am I kind of like understandable what would be the solution?
That sounds clear to me. Do we have any questions? Please keep them short. I interpret the silence as that there are no questions. Mob, go ahead.
Since we have people from Pirati.io here, when do you think you will have a list ready?
Well, the fact is this: if we can provide a list on our own, then of course we can put on names that we already have. We can put on members of Pirates, some of which also participated in the last elections. But if we are to collaborate, I mean, I read the thread and was pretty surprised to read that instead of answering to me, Aldo answered to you. But I mean, if we are to collaborate, then it can be difficult, since, I mean, we asked for name and we didn't get names. We asked for collaboration and we got the bill. So if we are to be the ones deciding the name, it can be pretty quick. I mean, by Italian law, a list for the European election to be valid needs 3 names. So, I mean, of course, we wouldn't put a list with 3 names, but it can be very quick. Also, we are still negotiating with some personalities. The problem with the confirming names is that for how the Italian politics works, it would be very, I mean, I think it's the same in all countries. It's, I mean, until we get a 100% yes, there is always the risk that someone jumps out. So we need to be absolutely sure that the names we give are the ones that appear on the list. And up to now, I mean, I explained partially the situation in my email, and I thank MAB that gave me the opportunity to explain more deeply what happened behind the curtains. But that is also I mean, our proposal remains that we give the names, and I think that we can provide the names in a few days. I will need to check with the other members of Pirati, because in these days we didn't stay still. Otherwise, the solution, I think, could be that the board could reach out to Partito Pirata and ask them to collaborate if that's the case. Otherwise, we can, yes.
Okay, so we have Mikuláš first and then Mob. And I would like to make a very temporary request. I have to very quickly run to the little pirate's room, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes. Is it possible to... Actually, sorry. Go ahead, Mikuláš. I will... Can we have someone who can take over for... can Mikuláš take over for just a moment while I run? I'll be right back.
Yep. Okay. So I will I'm taking over the chairing, and I will maybe comment on the previous issue. Yes, the board shall certainly reach to Partido Pirata, or let's say that the other member, and we should do so because we were requested by them to actually authorize them for the elections. Their request has to be answered with accordingly, following the decision of the council that was taken in the winter. And that means that Partido Pirata is not the one who is submitting the list, it's pirati.io. But Partido Pirata shall be provided with the opportunity to run, which means what is now expected is that Partido Pirata will transfer the respective information that is needed to submit the list to pirati.io with their respective proposed candidates, and the same this will be collected by pirati.io, and provided the information from pirati.io shall be provided to the board no longer than 29th of March, because this is the time we need in order for the board to do the submission, to do the vote. Should there be any further changes on the list, they may they still probably may happen according to law, but as said, the approval that happens on at the end of March by the board of the European Pirate Party is conditioned on the base that both of the organizations cooperate and submit the list in the spirit of goodwill and do not undermine each other's effort to participate in the election. I hope it is understandable, and that kind of like conditions the chair to actually sign the list, or like verify the authenticity of the list in front of Italian authorities. Have I answered the question? And yeah, I see her hand risen from Mump.
Yes, if I can jump in and be even shorter and blunter, there's no requirement for formal collaboration. The decision from the council is that you need to strive to include them. So you only need to prove to us that you've strived to include them. You can say, at this point, we sent them an email with this deadline for them to supply candidates. At this point, we sent a reminder. That shows us that you strive to include them. And then if they didn't send something, that's entirely up to them. You don't need to negotiate. You don't need to in any way collaborate on who should be where. You only need to show that you have strived to include pirates from them.
Yeah.
And with that said, if you don't have it by 29th of March, well, then probably pirati.eu will need to try to get another council meeting going, because that's the harsh reality of the deadline. But if you have something before the 29th of March, with some input that I got from Mikuláš, I can help you phrase a proposal in such a way that there's still some leeway to remove names or fill for vacancies that happens because someone jumped ship after 29th of March. As long as we have the sort of the bulk of the proposal by then, we can create a decision for the board that allows fine-tuning later.
Thank you.
Okay, Mikuláš, thank you for taking care of the meeting while I was away. I am back now.
So transferring the chairing, if I may just like one last comment, maybe I would like to ask you, Map, to help me to prepare the reply for Partido Pirata. And we should specifically ask them to put the European Pirate Party board into the copy when they will be submitting the or sending the documents to pirati.io. I guess that's fair.
I will help with that. I have also drafted a proposal in the pad to decide on this point here and now. It is the board implores pirati.io to urgently provide a proposal for a list no later than 29th of March. I think that's the only decision that we need to take here, and everything else is based, on what we've said today and how we proceed after that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mikuláš, for transferring the role, and Mob for both clarification and proposal. I think this proposal summarizes very clearly what we need to do, and I think we can simply move to a vote unless anyone has any other suggestion. No, I interpret the silence as agreement and that we can proceed to a vote. Jan, please prepare a vote for this topic and use the text that Mob has proposed.
Yeah, and should we vote in the same topic as before, or should we vote in the topic, or is it a topic?
In the
Yeah,
same
right.
as before,
In
because
the
it's
topic. Okay, not the
Yeah.
one with the discussion.
No, we can refer to that discussion, but this is a board meeting topic, so it should go under the board's decisions. As this is where we have all the votes. So put it in the same place as the other votes. Okay, and I see that we have some more topics to look at, and we'll try and focus on those quickly after this is over. All right, thank you, Jan. And we are ready to go to a vote. Okay, we have 6 votes, of which 3 are abstentions and 3 are yes votes. And that means we are not, we don't have enough votes for this decision to pass. Mob? Oh, sorry, Mikuláš?
I guess the abstentions should not count to the quorum, so we have more pros than contras. So I guess it should be passed.
All right. All right then. Let me just check one more. All right. Okay. One abstention has been removed. So we have 5 votes, and we have more votes. We also have someone who wants to say something, but I can't see a hand. No? Okay. All right. I think we can consider this just as said here as a just bare approval of the motion. So let's move on to the next topic. And the next topic is 2.4, the donation scheme. Mob, would you care to give us a summary here?
No, I think Alessandro or Florian will be right persons. But I would suggest that after the summary, we delay this to be decided on discourse rather than try to have a decision today, because I think people will need some more time to read it. I'm super happy that we have a proposal, but I don't think we have really the time right now to look at it in detail and make a decision.
Yeah, we also don't have time for the discussions without decisions, but perhaps we can postpone that. Mikuláš, and then Alessandro.
Well, I mean, should we wanted to have donation scheme before the elections, then this postponement is fail.
Alessandro? And then Mob. So Alessandro first, then Mob. And keep in mind, the meeting ends very, very soon, so please be
Yeah.
brief.
Yeah, I would completely be very sure. I mean, it would be great if point 3 discussion without decisions, because we don't have to take any decisions, that we can still have a discussion asynchronously on our board channel. And this is very important because it reminds us, it will be it will, the topic is the membership of the Pirate Party of Switzerland. So just read it, please, and then we can talk. It's not that difficult. It's not that, but something happened. We already talked about it. I mean, maybe bilaterals. It would be great to have the discussion. At least be aware of what's going on. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Alessandro. Mob.
No, I wanted to answer Mikuláš. Our current rules of procedures allows us to take decisions in between meetings on discourse. So my suggestion is that everyone reads this and that we then have a discussion on discourse asynchronously, and that we set up a decision in a week's time or something. And then we have a decision after Easter. We lose a week or two, but we will still be able to have it up and running before the elections.
Mikuláš?
That's a postponement I can live with, provided that we will be fine with asynchronous discussion, because sometimes people tend to talk about stuff in person, and that's better.
Okay. Is this an old hand, or does Mob want to say something?
Old, sorry.
Okay. And yes, Alessandro, kudos to Florian, who has done the work to put this together. So I believe we should, let's see here. All right. So considering the fact that we are out of time for this meeting, we should postpone this vote by a week. Do we have any suggestions for dates and times? Or could it be so simple that we simply decide Thursday, 1 week from now, at the same time? At 6:30 p.m. CET.
I think you're making it too complicated. Just say we will decide on this on discourse after this meeting, and then the people working with it will let us know when it's ready for a decision, and we will open the decision at that time.
That's fair. Then let's do that. Let's vote. Sorry. Let's then postpone the vote and complete it in asynchronous mode. And is anyone opposed to this? I interpret the silence as no one being opposed. Then we continue. Our next, we have points 3 and 4 that we will need to also postpone. Rob, go ahead.
I will put all the topics under 3 onto discourse on individual threads on the board section so you can discuss them there. They're purely discussions. Feel free to jump into the discussions there. So we will not need to bring them up at the next meeting because that's so far into the future. We will discuss them on discourse.
All right. Thank you, Mob. All right. So sorry. All right. We have everything moved to discourse for further discussion post-meeting. Is anyone opposed? Anja?
I think the Swiss will want to have some kind of answers, so we should at least decide who will tell them we could not decide today.
Mikolas. And then Rob.
I would
First,
suggest that we actually can interpret their respective request as an application and for membership. As we have all the respective data we need for membership, we may consider that to be a valid application and just inform them that formally the readmission will happen in the council meeting in June.
Mob.
Mikolas just started a discussion that we have decided to postpone to discourse. To Anja, I would say I can easily tell them that it was delayed from today and that we will get back to them very soon and that we're discussing it on discourse and then link to that discourse thread so they can see and participate themselves.
Mikolas.
Yeah, I would just clearly tell them that their request was taken into account and will be formally confirmed by the council in June.
All right then. Thank you, Mikolas. Do we have any additional points? Any additional input? Otherwise, we do need to round off and close the meeting because we are out of time. All right. I interpret the silence as there are no additional talking points. Can we round off this topic and continue in asynchronous mode in discourse? Is anyone opposed to this option? I interpret the silence as that no one is opposed. So with that, we end the meeting here at 8:07. And we will continue discussions in discourse. All right.